What's up, you guys? First of all, y'all already know we got to get our energy up. What's up? And I do not own rights to this song, okay? Clearly.
That it's my season.
You want to declare that over your own life.
Say I believe.
Let's go.
That it's my time.
Say what's up when you hop on live.
Say breakthroughs in the room. It's yours if you want it. And
Tell a friend to come join us.
God's getting ready to move. Listen, you ought to declare this over your own life. Say it. God, He's working a miracle.
We're going to get started in about 1 minute.
And it's gonna be.
What's up, you guys? Say hi when you're here. But I'm excited about my future. Why?
It's gonna be big. I'm running into destiny.
You better be shouting into your promise. Listen, he's going to pour you out a blessing. And I don't have a voice. Let's go.
God is gonna blow your mind.
Let's go. What's up, you guys? Let me know when you're here in the comments. Where are you watching from? Listen, it's got to be big. Nothing less. Your destiny's big. Let's go. All right. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. What's up, you guys? I'm so excited. Listen, God is about to blow your mind if you let him, okay? All right, listen, y'all. Let's get this party started. What is good, you guys? What's going on? Let me know in the comments when you're here live. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Bear with me. I do have a little bit of a raspy voice, but that is okay because the message that I have for you today is really also an extension of something that I talked about this weekend. And I think it's really important for us to really understand the importance of what I want to share with you, right? So, you guys, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Francis. I live out in Indianapolis, Indiana. I just came back from Glendale, Arizona, which was an insanely amazing time. I have never felt what I felt in that room this past weekend. So, I'm a mom. My littles are 8 and 3. And listen, I did the things. I went to school, got the corporate job, and all the things. But one thing that I realized was something that I heard somebody say, which is if you're not constantly looking to grow, then you're dying. Like if you're not learning new things, if you're not putting yourself in a position where people can expand the way you think, the way you behave, then what are you really doing, right? So I've just been like the last probably 2 years, I've just been on this quest of just growing, right? And one thing that I really want to share, because first of all, you guys, I cannot thank you all enough. I'm literally like just now trying to catch up with all the comments and all the love from this past weekend. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm insanely grateful for a CEO and a CFO and mentors that really always push you outside of what you even think you're capable of. And that's what I want to expand on today, because a lot of people were asking me like, man, I wanted to, like, I wish I could have heard more of what you were talking about. And the truth is, though we know a lot of these things, sometimes it doesn't really hit, right? So I really just want to go through like an extension of what was talked about this weekend, because it has all to do with your environment. If you were there at the event or you caught the snippet of the amazing opportunity that was given to me this weekend to speak from stage with some of the most amazing, successful women in this industry, just in the game, period. And one of them happened to be the CFO of our company. So I shared, if you caught that snippet, or if you were actually there in Glendale. By the way, if you were there, let me know in the comments, because I want to make sure we stay connected. I want to make sure that I support you and all the things that you're doing. But if you heard any piece of that, I was talking about how important your environment is. And this weekend I shared a little bit of my story of things that were going on in 2021. What's up, Tiff? Hey, beautiful. So I was sharing a little bit about what was going on in 2021 and just things that were happening, right? Because all of us always have something happening in life. And one thing that I can tell you is that your environment is critical, especially when you're going through things, because that's one thing we can count on. Though we don't like them, things are always going to happen. And what I realized in getting into the right environments is that someone is going to share something with you. They're going to share a story. They're going to give a testimony that is going to do something for you when it's your turn to go through something. And I shared this past weekend that, and I think I've shared this before on Facebook Live and Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're watching the podcast, if you're listening, is when you're going through something, that means that there's got to be something on the other side. Because if you look up the definition of the word through, it literally means the movement from one side to another. And that's what I was sharing this weekend. Because the truth is this: though we don't like to go through hard things, though we don't like painful things, that's almost guaranteed for us, right? And I don't make no guarantees, okay? Not in the markets, not in anything, but you can really count on like two guarantees. I feel like change, and that you're going to go through hard things, right? You're going to go through painful things. And we had a whole discussion. Did we not, on painful experiences before the event? But I wanted to share more of being in the right environment, because this weekend was an insane opportunity for me. And really, I hope that it was for a lot of people too, right? I hope that there was a mom listening that resonated with the message that I was able to share in that short period of time. I hope that there was a woman listening that got inspired to know that you really can do whatever it is that you set out to do. You guys, if you know me personally, I've always said, like, man, I know that I'll be in front of an audience one day, on stage, not to share about all the things that I've done or anything like that, but to give you the seed of inspiration, to give you that seed of knowing, if I just stay consistent long enough, if I just believe long enough, if I do the actions long enough, I know that I can have what's for me. Because here's the thing: what's for you already, no one can take. You just have to go through the time, go through the consistency, go through the action, go through the discipline. And so when we talk about the right environment, something critical that I took away from this past weekend, being around so many like really successful women, like on so many different levels. Obviously our CFO is massively successful. But one thing that I could tell you is that it's got everything to do with your environment. You see, people always talking about, I want to grow, I want to grow, I want to get here, I want to do this, I want to do that. And the hardest thing for some people to accept is the fact that it's possible for you to change without growing, but it's impossible for you to grow without changing. I hope somebody caught that. You can definitely change without you growing. because change is not always for the better, right? You ever experience someone in your life or just a situation where it's changed, but it's not for the better, right? That person might have changed a little bit, but it wasn't for the better. Maybe they complain even more than they used to. Maybe they're more aggressive than they already were. Whatever that looks like, right? You can change without growing, but there is no way possible to grow without you changing. And this is where the piece of total responsibility comes in. The easiest thing in the world is to blame someone else for your results or the lack thereof. And it's also one of the lowest levels of loving yourself possible. Here's why. None of us have it all right. None of us have it all figured out. None of us have it all together all the time. But the moment that you blame someone else for your result or the lack thereof, you release all power. You give it all away. That's like saying, oh, I just got this new car, but here, neighbor, you can drive it. What? Like, no. And so if I can give you anything, is do not relinquish that to someone else. Don't go get a Bugatti and give it to your neighbor to drive it. That's literally what you're doing when you place blame somewhere else on someone else and you don't accept full responsibility, because the power in responsibility is the fact that you can then do something about that. You can then choose to grow so that you can change. But the moment you keep saying it was so-and-so's fault, it was this and this thing's fault for my result or the lack thereof, you relinquish all power. You buy the Bugatti and you give it to your neighbor to drive it. That's literally what you do when you do not accept responsibility. So if you know you want to grow, if you know, you guys, I'm going to start putting this on every freaking video, which is 1% better every day. Your small changes lead to big results. Because it's not the things that you do massively, and it might be on the other side, depending on how your screen looks. But a lot of times people don't realize that they want to blame other people for the things they do and the things they've been able to accomplish or not accomplish. But the truth is, the minute that you blame somebody else, the minute you say, oh, it's because so-and-so, you give away all power for you to keep doing the growing. So if I can challenge you of anything, if you're looking to grow in any capacity, is you've got to change. But that change can't come without your growth, right? So what's interesting is, and I have notes because y'all know I could be on here all day with y'all. I love y'all. But you have to change your attitude. I posted about this morning, and that was strategic, by the way, because so many people are walking around with a horrible attitude, expecting an amazing life. You're walking around with the attitude of somebody did something to me 24/7 and then wonder why you're looking up always feeling like somebody's doing something to you. You guys, the craziest thing is when you open yourself up and you do the work to change your attitude, it's going to feel like there's opportunities for growth everywhere. And this has to do with your environment. It really does. And so I need you to be assessing your current environment, right? Listen, can I keep it real? Change just for the sake of saying, oh, I'm different, is not really going to help you. Change for the right reasons is going to help you. So let me give you an example. If you're a person that's very easily influenced, if you're a person that may have a stance on one thing, but then someone comes in with a different mindset and you don't even really assess that, but you're quick to pick up their mindset, can I tell you, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, because what ends up happening is you don't take the responsibility for your own attitude. You don't take responsibility for your own opportunities or lack thereof. You have to do the work. And this is the part that so many people try to get away from. You cannot get away from the work. Just because you're working on a certain thing about your mindset and someone else comes in and has a different opinion or a different stance, You cannot be so easily swayed. You guys remember that saying, right? If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything. Quit falling for everybody's philosophy. Quit falling for everybody's way of thinking, especially if you can't look at them and be inspired by what they've got going on in life, by the way they think, by the way they treat people. Cut it out. You're being too easily influenced. So let's talk about this, because when we talk about changing, right? Remember, you have to grow yourself in order to really experience change. You have to decide what it means for you to change yourself and your environment. Because here's the thing. If you only do one or the other, you're not going to get the full result of what you're looking for, right? And of course, everything's got to do with the people that you're surrounding yourself with. It's science, anything, right? If 4 people have really bad money habits and a 5th person comes into that circle, they will inevitably adopt bad money habits. If 4 people gossip and they meet a new person and that person is not wise enough to not be so easily influenced, they'll end up gossiping too. If 4 people love to eat fried chicken every day and somebody's got to live with them for 45 days, they will inevitably probably be eating fried chicken, right? Like, it's science. So if you know that you need to make a major change in your life and your environment, there's something that you also have to keep in mind. You've got to be willing to do both sides, because here's why. If you change you, right? If you focus on changing you, but you don't change your environment, here's what's going to happen. Your growth is going to be really slow and it's going to be really hard. Because, and if you're on here, let me know if you can relate in the comments. Have you ever tried working on you so hard and you're in a toxic environment, or you're in an environment that's negative, or you're with people that drain your existence? That's hard. And it feels real slow. Now, here's what happens if you try to change your environment, but you're really not changing you. And you see this all the time. This is one of the most common ones, is people changing their environment, but they're not really changing them. They might be acting like it, but they're really not changing them. What ends up happening in that scenario is your growth is still going to be slow, but it'll be a little less difficult, because when you're in the right environment, you'll start to pick that up. And then inevitably, hopefully, probably 2 opposite words, right? Hopefully, that environment will help you really cultivate inside the change that you need. But here's what happens if you change your environment and you're willing to change you. What's up, you guys? Make sure you let me know you're on here. There's a little bit of a lag on StreamYard all the time, so make sure that you let me know if you're on here live or on replay. I will go back and comment and say what's up, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, on the podcast, wherever. Let me know. I would love to love on you. So your growth is going to be at a better pace and a lot more successful for what success looks like for you, because now you're doing the work on both sides. You're making the decision to grow, right? You're making the decision to put yourself in different environments. You're making the decision to do the inner work and work on you. But when you only have one or the other, it's going to be more difficult no matter what. So one thing that I want you to think about, or actually a couple of things, is you want other people around you in your environment that are ahead of you. You want people in your environment that are ahead of you. You want people in your environment that are constantly challenging you. You want your focus to be forward. You don't want your focus to be on what somebody was doing last week. You don't want your focus to be on decisions that other people are making in their life. No, your focus needs to be forward. Because if it's not, you're going to constantly live in the past, and that is draining. Have you tried it? I have. It does not work. Cancel. It's not working. So the other thing is, you want an atmosphere that's affirming. You guys, one thing that I love about getting with my community us just getting together on the same vibration and the same mindset is there is so much affirming in that atmosphere. It's insane. Like, you cannot not believe in yourself in the room that we were in this past weekend. It's impossible. If you made the decision to grow and you were in that room, there was no way you didn't feel that affirming atmosphere. So you got to get around people and atmospheres that are affirming, not the ones that are telling you you can't do it. Oh, girl, that's crazy. That's corny. That don't work. That's a scam. Cancel. We ain't got time for that. That's a whole nother live we can do. Okay. Okay. And let's be friends. If you have a hard time, I got some clapbacks all the time from a very respectful place, because I understand what it feels like to be in an environment that's not growing. I don't got time for that. Here's one thing that I really want to encourage you. I don't care where you find yourself in your life right now. Your bank account could be negative. The people in your life could be shitty. I don't care what it is. One thing that I want to tell you, and I need you to listen to me clearly today, is it does not matter what it looks like right now. If you make the committed decision to grow and you put yourself in the right environments, can I tell you that it's going to transform your life? The thing about people, and the interesting thing about life, is that a lot of us want to keep living life like this is a practice run. This is not a practice run. It's the real thing. So get yourself in environments that are affirming, in atmospheres that are affirming. A lot of us want to be like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to try this little thing out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just give it a little shot. This is not practice. This is real life. And the moment you start treating it like it's real life, you're going to be more mindful of getting in environments that are affirming. You're going to be more mindful about telling somebody, listen, go with that energy. If you were there this weekend, you know. But this is not a practice run. This is your real life. And I need you to stop playing with it, because when you stop playing with it, other people going to stop playing with you. You'll have that little 0.1% that still try to come play, but it's okay. You just wish them well and move them to the side, right? But seriously, this is not a practice run. God has so many big things for you. For me, we got to stop playing like we had a baseball practice. No, baby. It's home runs all day. And when we fall a little short, we get back up and we keep going like it's the real thing. But too many of us are practicing. Too many of us are practicing. This is the real thing. This is real life. So make sure you're in atmospheres that are affirming. Make sure that you're always outside of your comfort zone. Too many of us are comfortable. Oh man, that looks hard. Oh my gosh, they're doing so many amazing things. What? Like you're not capable? You are. But one of your first steps is to not want to be comfortable. Think about this. Think about a rubber band, right? A rubber band being comfortable never really fits on anything, does it? It doesn't. If you have a rubber band and it's comfortable and it's never stretched, it rarely fits on anything but that exact size. Literally. A rubber band will only ever fit on something that it's the exact size if it's comfortable, if it's never stretched. Now think about that rubber band being you, being your life, being your mindset. If you never stretch it, it's not going to be able to fit anything bigger. And so I need you to make sure that you're outside of your comfort zone. You guys, I'm not even going to front. I really know, and I say this from like the most humble, most grateful, just in awe of how good of a God we serve, that I know my calling. I heard Matt Rosa say this weekend, and it makes me almost want to cry. I heard Matt Rosa say this weekend, you don't have to find your calling. Your calling is going to find you. And when I was asked literally like an hour and a half before it was stage time to fill in a spot, I was uncomfortable. I almost even wanted to say, no, not me. But can I tell you, if you treat yourself like a rubber band and you stretch yourself, you will be in the bigger places that are meant for you. But it takes you being obedient to not being comfortable. I'm going to relate this to a health and wellness journey. When you're comfortable, you fitting into them jeggings and them leggings. And then you go put on a pair of jeans, and the only thing fitting in them jeans is the exact size, okay? But if you have leggings or sweatpants on, you fill them in. So get into a place where you're constantly being forced to be uncomfortable. There's no amazing stuff in comfort. There's just not, right? Then there's another one. Wake up excited. So many of us are waking up like, I don't even want to be awake today. Well, somebody didn't want to die today. Somebody didn't want to wake up in environments where they don't have a choice, right? You have a choice. You woke up, you have choices. You get to make different choices every single day. How about failure is not your enemy? If you don't get it right the first time, keep it moving. Remember, this is the real thing. You got to keep doing it. How about making sure your environment has others in it that are growing? I was so inspired by all those women on the stage, all those men on the stage, everyone I met in the hallways. I was just so inspired because they're growing. They wanted to be there because they wanted growth. Some of them came on their very last dollar and didn't know how they were going to get home. But they're betting on them. They're betting on their growth. They're betting on the fact that they desire change. But in order to get that change, they must grow, which is why they were in that right environment. And make sure that you adopt this mindset where growth is expected. You should have, a lot of us have expectations of other people. We want other people to be perfect. We want other people to not be able to move on in life. We want other people to do all these other things. We have all these expectations. Yet, you have no expectation in your life on your growth, about your growth. Growth needs to be modeled in your life, and it needs to be an expectation. And once you start operating out of that, it's going to be a lot better for you. So now, I have another piece of this message for you guys before I start wrapping this up. This past weekend, when I was around so many successful women, you guys, like, I was just really, really, really like just in awe of their wisdom, of their strength, of the fact that they expect greatness even when things aren't that great. And one thing that I realized is that their stories, the things that they shared with me, the things that they shared from stage, is that growth always came from them taking action. It never came from them just like, oh yeah, it is what it is. I'm just going to go with the flow. No, because when you go with the flow, you get your life by default and never by design. And I think I'll go live this week about the law of design too, right? Because we're talking about the law of environment. But in order to reach your potential, you guys, you are going to have to do not only what other people don't believe you can do, but even the things you think you can't do. Because if I have to be honest with you, if you would have asked me, even 2 years ago, would you be at a national convention on stage with the CFO? I'd be like, girl, I'll see you on Facebook Live. Like, I had a little bit of a belief, but not all of it. And so action, what that does for you is it pushes you into a place where not only are you going to be doing things that people said you never could, but you're going to be doing things that sometimes you're like, dang, I didn't even fully believe I could do it. But look, when it's for you, it's for you. And if you're doing the work, when it's time for you to go through that, you're going to get it done. But it all comes with action. Most people really underestimate themselves, and me included. I'm not an exception to that, you guys. But I want to encourage someone that's listening today, right? Someone that maybe watched the convention live streamed, or maybe you were even there. If you do not try to create the future that you want, you're just going to have to endure the future that you get. I'm going to say that again. If you do not make every attempt, if you don't take the action, if you don't put yourself in new environments, if you don't read the books, if you don't listen to the audios, if you do not get in a constant state of growing to create the future that you want, you're going to have to endure whatever future you get. That goes directly along with something that I heard someone who I see as a mentor. She doesn't know she's my mentor, but I watch her all the time. I listen to her all the time. And she said, it's not my fault that I was born looking like my parents, right? That's not my fault. But I die looking like my choices. And so that goes right in line with, if you do not make your very best attempt at this real life, not practice, this ain't practice, okay? Real life, constant wanting to grow, constant being in the right environments. If you don't make the very best attempt to do that and create the future that you want, you're going to have to endure whichever one you get. And to me, it's kind of like, that's ghetto. I don't want it. 0 out of 5 stars. Do not recommend. Don't recommend it. Because when it's time for me to answer to my creator, I'm only going to have to answer for me. So I want to play a part in creating my future, because I say this all the time, you guys. If you're a believer, right? We may not agree on the same things or believe the same things, and that's okay. But if you are your creators, right? Our creators' highest form of creation, by default, that gives you the ability to co-create your life. What's for you is for you. Nobody can take that. But you have the ability to co-create, because a lot of times God gives us the butter. He gives you the pan. He gives you, the mix. And you're still standing there like, God, this is your humble and faithful servant. And you got everything right in front of you. You have environments you can insert yourself into. You have new things that you can learn. You have a person you could be a friend to. You have someone that you can give a token of inspiration or hope to. And you're just standing back like, I'll just get the future I get. Instead of working to just create that. And it does take work. It's always going to take work. And so I just need you to know that it doesn't matter what it looks like right now. It doesn't matter what labels, if you will, there might still be on you from previous environments that you were in. Hell, that might be the environment you're in right now. You do not have to live up to those. I compare it to a cereal box, right? You ever see like cereal companies that go through rebranding, or like, any company like protein shakes? Whenever they feel like it's time for new branding, they change the label. So can I encourage you to stop walking around with a label that's something someone said you were when you were 25? Take the label off, put a new one on. Can I encourage you to take off the label of, something an ex-spouse said to you that maybe we got to do some healing from, so that you could wear the new one and then change that one whenever you want to? It is up to you to start creating that. And then I want to talk to the person before I give you a couple tips on some things you can do to really, really apply this law of environment, changing your environment, into your life on a real practical note. I want to talk to the people who have moved away from growth environments, who have moved away from communities that force them to grow, to get uncomfortable, to level up. If you are leaving an environment where growth is a priority, where people are encouraging you and expect you to develop, because a lot of us do that when we don't like something, or, when things are just not going how we want them. We leave actual good environments. We leave growth environments where growth is a priority, where the expectation is nothing less than growth, where people are encouraging you and expecting you to develop. If you are that person that has ever left an environment, I want to share something with you that John C. Maxwell says. If you do not go to a similar environment, you can't expect to get the same results. And on top of that, you're going to have to work extra hard because that new environment you just moved to may not make growing a priority. They may not make developing a priority. And then now you're wondering, now you're blaming someone else for your lack of result. Now you're blaming someone else for, man, I could have been doing this, but like they didn't give me no time. So if you're moving on from an environment that their main focus is growing, their main focus is developing, their priority is encouraging you to grow and develop, if you leave an environment like that and you go to one that is not similar in that they're making growing a priority, they're making you developing the expectation, you're not going to get the same result. It is going to be more difficult and it's going to be hard for you to keep growing because, again, you have to be in a place, in an environment that's conducive to your growth. But if growing is not a priority, if gossiping is a priority instead, if blaming is a priority instead, if lack of accountability is a priority instead, you will not get the same result. You just won't. Try it if you don't believe me. So in order to apply this law of growth and growth environments, it's non-negotiable for your environment to be conducive to you growing. So don't go to a different environment that doesn't prioritize growing 1% better every day, pushing you, helping you develop, loving on you, but checking you when you're wrong. You're not going to get the same result. Then it's going to be somebody else's fault. Then it's going to be a lack of accountability, the ability to account for your doing or you're not doing, right? So what are some things that you can do, right? If you're listening, you're like, Francis, okay, cool. Listen, I got to get in a different environment. What can I do? What can I do? Number one is you got to assess your current environment. Where are you at right now? What kind of environment are you in? Are others ahead of you? Are you continually changing? Is your focus forward? If you're in an environment where they always hashing up, oh shit, you got to go. You got to go. That's it. Your growth depends on it. Your atmosphere is affirming. If you don't have an affirming atmosphere, you got to go. You ain't got time. Do you wake up excited? Do they encourage you that it's okay to make mistakes as long as you're taking action? Are other people growing? Is growth a priority? Do people in that environment desire change? Or are they like, nah, it's been working this whole time like that? What kind of environment? So number one is assess your environment. Number two is assess your personal needs when it comes to growth in three main areas. What do you need to nourish you, right? And this is something that I call feeding your faith. What songs lift you up? What thoughts or ideas really speak to you? You guys, if you get on with me live, you know I have a couple set of songs that are non-negotiable that really feed my faith. Find those songs for you. Find those thoughts. Find those quotes. Right? What kind of experience rejuvenates you? For me, it's events. You guys, I'm like just overflowing from what I experienced this past weekend. So what experiences rejuvenate you? What kind of people encourage you? What family members truly care about you? Not the ones that tell you you ain't shit and you're not going to grow because of where you at. Girl, you ain't never been able to do nothing good in your life. Well, let's start with this one good thing. You got to go. I'm going to love you from a distance. I got other things to focus on, right? So, how about what kind of activities revive you? So think about those things. Another thing is what what keeps you what keeps you alive, like that feeling of being alive, right? So some people might call it their purpose. Like what really keeps you alive? And I want to encourage you to think about like a purpose statement, something that really means something to you, something that if you could do it without restrictions of time and money, what would that be? What would that look like? And start to think about that. And then also the climate that you're going to be living in, your environment. So these are all things that you could do in addition to understanding that you're going to have to continually make sure that you're in environments that can help change you. Because in order for you to ultimately get to where you want to be, every next level is going to require new exposures for you. It's even the same in business, right? A traditional business. Or if you're a corporate career and you want to work for a promotion, you have to be exposed to something new. You have to get exposed to the way someone in that position does things. Not what people in your current department are doing. That's not the environment that's going to help you grow and change to be in that other position you want to work for. So it applies to all the same things. How about working out? If you constantly are around people who sleep in till 11 and 12 o'clock, that's not the environment that you need to be that person that develops a good habit of wanting to go to the gym or turning on that big screen to get an at-home workout in. And I want to encourage you, and I'll leave you with this challenge. And that challenge is every single week, I want you to find an opportunity for you to have potential growth. So let me give you an example. This week, if you haven't read a book in a year, or if you haven't read a book in a couple of months, give yourself a growth opportunity this week. This is the thing people mistake. They want to be like, oh, when I get more time, I'll start reading. No. Give yourself the potential to grow right now. Make some time. You know what? I haven't read a book in a year, but every night this week for 5 minutes, I'm going to give myself an environment with an opportunity to grow. What does that look like? Maybe it's before you go to bed. Cut the phone off, put it on the charger across the room, not next to you, and pull out a book for 5 minutes. I'm not talking about pull out a book and like try to read the whole thing and you haven't read in a year. You have to put yourself in environments where you're going to thrive. And I'm sorry, if you're not in an environment that's prioritizing growth, why do you expect different results? That is literally the definition of insanity. Continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again, hanging with the same people over and over and over again that have no substance in conversation, don't mean very well for you because they don't even mean well for themselves. And then you wonder why you don't get a different result. Put yourself in an environment to grow every week. What is a growth opportunity for me? Maybe for you, it's the book. Maybe for you, it's, listen, I've been beating myself up. I've been talking bad about myself. I feel fat. By the way, fat is a substance. You can't be fat. Like, that's not a thing. Maybe you feel unhealthy. Very different. I'll give you that one. If you're feeling unhealthy, it's time we do something about it. So if you feel unhealthy, maybe your growth opportunity is, you know what, this week, I'm giving myself an opportunity to grow. This week, every day, I'm going to power walk for 10 minutes. That's a major growth opportunity when all you've been doing is talking bad about yourself. And if you talk bad about you, why are you so surprised when other people are talking bad about you? And some of us, because of the wrong environment, want to act so shocked when things seem so negative to us, when things seem so bad, like the world is falling apart to us, but inside, that's how you feel. Plus, then you're in the wrong environment So you only feel more of that. But then you're so shocked. Girl, I can't believe she was talking bad about me. Girl, did you see what so-and-so was doing? I don't even know. Why are you so surprised? I mean, it's only a mere reflection of what you got going on. And so I say this honestly, you guys, from a place of love, a place of wanting to really see more and more women rise to the occasion. Like, it's 2022. If all you have time to do is focus on what other people are doing, talk about the things that are going on and not going on in their life, I think you really need to take the challenge of growth opportunities every single week. I'm taking the challenge. And for me, because of consistency, and this is what 1% better every day, 2%, whatever percent you want to choose better every day. If you just stay consistent, your growth opportunities inevitably get bigger, right? If I consistently read every single day, a minimum of 2 pages, 5 pages, now I feel like part of my challenge is to attempt to read half of a book every week, because I've been doing 10-page minimums for Jesus knows how long. That was my consistency to me. That was my growth opportunity to me months and months ago. So now it's okay. If I really want to start to create more environments and put myself in more environments where I can grow, I got to be intentional about that. And we can do a whole nother live on the law of intentionality. But I just really, really hope that you took something from this. If you got value from this, let me know below. What was one major thing that you feel like you took away? Was it the challenge? What was it for you? Because for me, I just feel like we need to get more in this place of thriving environments so that we can grow. Because ultimately, if you want to experience growth, you're going to have to change. And maybe for you, that might be working on how you talk to yourself. Maybe for you, it might be working on how you let other people talk to you. Maybe for you, it might be whatever it is. You have to understand that in order to grow, you have to change. Forget about what everybody else is doing. You got to change for your own growth. Because a lot of people are around here changing, but it don't mean they're growing. And so I love you guys. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. Ladies, this is really a call for us to rise to the occasion, for us to say no more. I have opportunities to grow all around me, but what am I choosing? So I love you. I'll see you soon. And listen, it's your time. Bye.